Hey y'all, good morning. Peace and blessings to everybody. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining me. Wait, let a couple people more um, stream on in and trickle on in, and we'll get started. Welcome, Miss Genesis. I apologize for being late. It's been a tumultuous morning for me. Started out quiet and then didn't stay that way. But God is good all the time. Good morning, Miss Ann. Welcome. Thank you for coming and joining me. I don't know what's going on these YouTube streets. I haven't even looked. I just clicked live, so hopefully I'm not interfering or infringing on anybody else's time. So all is well, all is well, hoping and praying that all is well with everyone. Come on in and hit that like button when you come on in, please. Let me get my little banners going. Fair use, fair use. And to my incoming people and my replay people, if you would just take a moment and tap that like button, I would fully appreciate it. Thank you kindly, thank you kindly. Salute to KB, salute to KB. Salute to all of the other content creators that's out here doing the work. Boy, I tell you, Cat Williams is a hot commodity. He's providing so much content. It ain't even funny. He's feeding these YouTube streets this week. So, yes, that look, ain't nobody complaining. Everybody jumping in and getting in where they fit in, right? So, again, thank y'all for coming on in. As you have seen the topic, we are discussing what I find to be, in my personal opinion, some injustices going on. Even though there's a couple of basketball coaches that have been ostracized. One of them got terminated. The other one has just received a lot of backlash, and everybody's opinionated, right? Yes, Genesis one. I'm telling you, these YouTube streets are being fed. I feel like I thought about touching on the subject because I really enjoyed the interview and I could definitely expound on some of his talking points, but that's all anybody is doing. And so I'm like, I just don't want to regurgitate things that are already being said. If I can't bring a fresh and new and different perspective, then I'll let them go ahead and deal with Cat Williams because I'm sure this is going to be an evolving story. I think I saw where Ticket TV was just saying that he didn't say who. I didn't click on the live, but in his title it said that they're trying to cancel Shannon Sharp now for providing Cat with that opportunity to have that interview. I hope that's not true. However, I would not be surprised because that interview just shook up the entire comedian world. It shook up Hollywood. Then you have the list. I'm sure 50 other people might have had access to that list, the Epstein list or the E list, I should say. And I DM'd it to Kwame. And so you got that going on right now as well. And so it's definitely a season of exposure going on. And I tell you, I like my boring little simple life. I don't have to look over my shoulder. I don't have to worry about, wondering if something's coming around the pike because I sowed some bad seeds or, I'm anticipating some bad karma. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't apply to me. Praise God. Thank you. But I'm telling you, it's a lot going on, and it's always Bible prophecy is being fulfilled, right? And so if you're in tune with the word and Bible scripture, particularly in the book of Revelation, everything is like we're here. I remember reading the book of Revelations when I was younger, Genesis and Miss Ann, put a one if you can hear me okay, or am I a little low? Um, two if I'm low, one if I'm all right, if I'm coming across at a pretty decent volume. But I remember, being younger and reading the Book of Revelations, and I was like, that seems so far fetched. At the time. Okay, perfect. Thank you, ladies. Um, it seemed so far fetched at the time, and now I'm looking around and I'm like, anytime I go back into that book, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're here. We are literally here. So even though it's kind of, or it's very interesting to see a lot of these things unfold, for some it's not a huge surprise, because we were told of things that were to happen in the last days. So anyway, I digress. I just, it was on my heart to say, um, in reference to the what I feel are injustices and undue or unnecessary criticism of these basketball coaches. I was feeling some type of way yesterday. So the first person I want to talk about is Brianna O'Connor. And that's actually what got the ball rolling for me, into delving into this topic a little bit deeper to see if there were other people that were affected and targeted, in my opinion, as well. So, all of these statements are strictly the content creator's opinion, which is my opinion. And it's just an opinion. It's just how I feel based off of the information that I'm receiving. So, welcome in, Andre. Peace and blessings to you. Salute. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. And so, what I did come to realize is initially when I read the article about Brianna O'Connor, she's a high school coach in Louisiana, or was a high school coach at this high school in Louisiana. I have trouble pronouncing that. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull that. Opelousas High School. And I came to learn that she actually, this occurrence happened last December. So it was literally over a year ago. Um, and she has, at that time, she had a very great winning record. I think it was 18-4, which is impressive, right? A lot of the kids really, she was a mentor. A lot of the kids looked up to her. She very has had very good interaction with the children. Respect her. They listen to her, and no matter what I read, I can't find any information as to how that whole situation unfolded. Everything in the articles state that it was just because they didn't think it was a fashion show, and they kept using that word, quote unquote, and those were the terms allegedly that were given to her when she was terminated. And so the first thing that I thought of is, I my son is very avid in sports, and so I'm always at sporting events. And when I go in, I see the students or the spectators of the games. They dress any way they want to dress. And you're subjected to look at everything that's going on with their attire, going up and down the stands, walking across the floor, yada, yada, yada. And then you have a coach that is not revealing. She might be form fitting, but that's her shape. She's shapely. She's not, showing inappropriate body parts. She's not, to me, it's not suggestive to the point where it's distracting or should be distracting to anything going on, right? So you're here to see a game. Now, I did some digging and some research on the um, policies for either high school and or college WNBA coaches. And there really has not been, as of, I want to say maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little less, there wasn't a whole lot. There was an unspoken criteria. So the men wore collars, the women didn't show cleavage, crew necks, very generalized descriptions. And personally, I think that that was that way too because it was most of the coaches back then were dominantly not black, right? So, to piggyback off of that and to expound on that, that made me wonder like now they have the rules have been more relaxed, right? And so nothing, I don't see, and I haven't seen anything that should warrant you being terminated, her being terminated. I thought that was super extreme. So the way my brain works, the very next move I made was, okay, so is everybody receiving equal treatment in that area? Are all of the coaches subjected to the same rules and regulations as Miss Brianna O'Connor? And it didn't take me long to find out that that was not the case. For whatever reason, she was isolated and it made it went viral. It made the news. So you know that kind of started to get me into my feelings a little bit, and so I started looking at a lot of images and pictures of games, um, events, finals. Anything that they did that was celebratory. If maybe she went extreme at any of those instances, I saw none of that. Nobody even really talked about her until she was terminated. That's when she made the news. None of her accomplishments, at least outside of local news, was discussed. She was never acknowledged for her accomplishments. She was never praised for their record. Not out, like I said, outside of a local area, right? So, hi, Miss Empress. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Yes, welcome. Peace and blessings to you. So, I don't want to beat a dead horse with a stick. I just want to share some of the information that I came across. And as any of you that have been seeing any of my lives have learned that I love engagement, whether it's in the chat, if I drop the link and you don't feel comfortable enough or want to hit the panel, that's perfectly fine. I just like to put the invite out there and give you the opportunity to do so. Some people like it, some people would rather stay, behind the keyboard or behind their avatar, which is totally understandable and totally respected on this platform. So I just wanted to say that as a side note. But so I'm gonna share my screen here, and we're just gonna go through Miss Brianna. We're gonna start with her because it's Miss Sydney I want to talk about, which is another coach, which has also been in the same limelight. And I, we need to call this down the middle. So if you can just bear with me for just a moment while I get myself together. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for engaging. The people that are here, the ones that are in the bushes, thank you for stopping in and chiming in and observing. Yes, Miss Ann, unfortunately, that is just the way it is. And, but you know what? There has to come a time where even if it doesn't change, it should be brought out. It should be talked about. It should be discussed. You got to call some of this behavior out or it will continue. And it doesn't really matter how many people it reaches, but when it happened at the time, it got some circulation. So for some reason, one way or another, it was revived, and now it's making its rounds again. So I'm trying to share my screen here. There we go. Okay. All right. Hold on a minute. Okay, so I don't know if y'all can see that really well. I might have a okay, so let's just start here. I don't want to keep y'all holding up because I got technical difficulties I'm trying to navigate. But these are some of the outfits that she wore that she was scrutinized for. And I want to say it was this one, the first one on the top left, out of all of them, which I think was the one that she had on when the decision was made that they had had enough of seeing her walk around dressed the way that she was dressed, right? So, I think I'm hoping I'm on the right screen. Okay. Um, and so I'm just going to read a little bit I want to talk about her accomplishments because we can see what she has on. And I'm not sure how many in the chat take issue with what she has on, but I would say it probably wouldn't be a majority. I'm going to venture out to say that. But the article says O'Connor's impressive prowess on the court was showcased during her tenure with the Opelousas High School girls basketball team, achieving a record of 18 wins, 4 losses. She was unexpectedly terminated despite her stellar performance. Now, I thought that's why they originally hired coaches because they want winning teams. They want results. They want notoriety, not just in, if these institutions are acknowledged for academics, they're also acknowledged for sports. It reaches a totally different audience. It opens them up for more sponsors, more recognition nationally. And so she didn't seem to have any troubles in that area. Now, there's always their side, your side, and then the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle. However, if that is the consensus across all of these publications and everybody's saying the same thing, that's the information we have to go off of. So, from this information, we form our own public opinions. And my personal public opinion is that this is not what we should be doing. We should be looking and focusing on bigger and better things like her accomplishments, right? No, Miss Ann, I don't think it was bad either. I think that um, it never warranted termination. If it was such an issue, I'm wondering, and I think Genesis One brought this up on the community page, and if she did it, somebody did. Was there progressive discipline? Was she called in the office, or was it discussed with her initially? But from the article, it says that she was unexpectedly terminated and let go, and so that poses a lot of questions because from all of the outfits that now, if there was anything inappropriate, I'm sure that would have made the internet as well. But I don't see anything that's totally inappropriate. So what I'm gonna do is I have a window open with some pictures, but I think I did these of Sherry. Hold on. Okay, so let's do this. All right. Thank you for your patience. Give me just a second. Okay, so these are a little bit clearer. Um, these are so she's got on some slacks and a long sleeve shirt. There's no cleavage showing in any of these pictures. These are form fitting outfits. Thank you for coming on in, everybody. Appreciate you, Mr. Kelvin Johnson. Thank you for joining us. Peace and blessings to you, the Kitchen Clothes Podcast. Appreciate your presence. Thank you for engaging. Salute, salute. And so, y'all, pardon me. I'm so challenged technology wise in this area, but I'll get it. So I just wanted to make the point that the pictures that are being presented, I don't see why anybody would take issue with her being terminated. Okay. So from what I do understand, she did get another job rather quickly, and that the school she ended up transferring to or gaining employment from, they have had and are having a decent season this year as well. So I'm glad that she did not let it deter her, and it stopped nothing. At the end of the day, I'm sure she probably will be more blessed where she is than she could have been. And like I always say that God has a way of navigating us through discomfort into where we need to be. Nobody ever said our journey was going to be smooth, slow, and steady. There are always disruptions as long as we get on purpose and we realize that's what it is. And so her determination, her attitude, and I'm sure a lot of that came from her basketball training, her experience, her dedication to the sport that propelled her to become a coach. In my opinion, you have to be super dedicated to be a coach. Just like teachers, they're underpaid, undervalued, overused, and they dedicate a lot of their time, energy to the point where a lot of their families are neglected. I've seen it happen. And so, you get someone with all of those characteristics, and those people actually provide the service that they were hired for. I don't see what the problem is, right? So I agree with Miss Ann. My opinion also is that I don't see anything wrong with what she's wearing. Now, would I wear that? It doesn't really matter. My taste is different. The way I present myself, my body shape, my age, all of that plays a part in how I don't dress now the way that I dressed 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. So, but that does not necessarily need to open up the door for judgment just because it's not something that you would personally pick out. That's why we have diversity. That's why we have different, we're created all differently because our desires and our styles and our the things that we like all vary and they're all different. So, welcome, Pastor in the house. He left the church house for a minute to come into my house. Thank you, Pastor. Hallelujah. Appreciate you. And I started your replaying your life because last night, I don't know, I, I get up to go to the bathroom. I come back, you lie. I wasn't going to even try to stay up during the live, but I really have a whole lot of respect for y'all that can do this thing on and off 24 hours a day. I tell you, I've been on this journey for doing content creation for a few weeks now, and I'm gonna have to shut it down this weekend and get some rest. Not necessarily with YouTube, but just being able to allot myself some time to actually get some sleep, so I can be at 100% instead of pushing the live button and looking like I'm a fish out of water. So all right, now with that discussion being on Brianna, I also discovered that there was another hot topic and a hot trending moment based on another basketball coach, right? Now, Miss Sydney Carter is a coach at her alma mater, Texas A&M. And now she giving people something to talk about, but not on a bad note. I'm just saying her presence, her attire, her confidence is on another level. So people are going to take notice. They're going to take notice, right? So I'm just going to go through some pictures. I'm going to share my screen here. I don't know what's going on with this. Whew. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Coach Carter. Okay. So they took issue with this outfit. Now I'm puzzled, right? I don't understand. She's fully dressed. My question is I would like to know who is behind the scenes kicking up all this dust. I bet you it's not any men. I doubt very seriously if the men are making complaints of the way that this woman is dressed. I tell you right now, KB was on my community wall and said he would go see Brianna O'Connor. I'm sure he would probably go see Miss, no disrespect to Brianna, but Miss Sydney Carter is doing her thing, right? So again, I don't think that it's any men that's making these complaints. Now, I would like to know the origin and why. So, is it because these women are typically more curvy? Because nothing is to me, it's again, it's form fitting, but it's not inappropriate. Now, this is the photo that they really took issue with. And this woman is honoring breast cancer month. Her nails were adorned and painted and to celebrate breast cancer month. She says she does this every year. And so I'm trying to understand and figure out where did the message get lost, right? So Ms. Collins brings up a good point. Let me just go through these. Okay, we're gonna talk about this one too. That's gonna lead me into my next subject because I have to make a comparison. Now I don't know, no disrespect, but I didn't know flamingos taught basketball, coach basketball. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but nobody says anything to her. Okay, so I wasn't really supposed to click on that yet, but since I did, I wanted to comment on it. Miss Collins made a statement and she said she doesn't understand. No, I'm sorry. You know, it's some hating ass women behind these complaints. Always. Always. That's my point. And I'm sure that they're behind the scenes. I haven't seen or heard of anybody out front making those kinds of complaints because they know they don't have a leg to stand on. And it's going to show their true nature and their true enviousness and jealousy. Because I believe that's all that is. You know, you have women in the workplace with all of these restrictions and all of these um, you're expecting them to comply with all of these rules, but then when they find their niche or their, you know, they're able to put their personality and fit it inside of your constraints, now you want to move the goalposts. I got a problem with that. We are not typically taught in this culture individuality. It's not encouraged. Conformity is encouraged. And I rebuke it. I always did. I remember one time, I'm going to take my camera off. I remember one time, welcome in everybody. If you just hit that like button coming in, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing with us. I appreciate everybody's presence. And I'm just, look, I'm in my feelings a little bit today. So, you know, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And this is, yeah, Genesis 1, that jacket was beyond ugly. And nobody, I'm telling you, I know that woman because I saw pictures of people oogling over her in that outfit. And I know that they were just, like I said, oogling over her when they thought they were looking at a celebrity or a female goddess or something. It was crazy. But okay, I digress. I remember one time I was pregnant with my oldest son, and I had gotten some, back then we called them Zulu knots. I don't know what they call them now, but I think a lot of people know what I'm talking about, where you had the little round, they did the plaits and then they rolled them up into knots, and you had separated, and they were separated by parts in your hair. And I remember I sat for, my hair was very long at the time, and I sat for a very long time to get that hairstyle. And I remember I went to work the next day. They sent me home. Bantu knots. Thank you, Miss S.J. That's what they call them now. Bantu. Back in, well, back then I lived on the West Coast, and they called them Zulu knots. But they, you know, you reinventing the wheel. They come out, they go out, they come back in. So every few years they're cyclical, right? So they sent me home. And I remember the manager that hired me had to tell me I had to go home until I changed my hairstyle. And I said to her, "What's wrong with my hairstyle?" They say it's too. She said that the management, her manager or her boss said that they were too extreme. And I was dealing with the public at the time. They were gorgeous. They were neat. They were freshly done. You could even still smell my hair. The products that was in my hair smelled so good. When people got within walking distance or arm's length of me, it was like, what is that smell? I mean, it was just, I felt I was mortified. And so at the time, I just said, okay, all right, no problem. I went home. I was debating on whether I was going to quit or not, but I'm not that, I don't consent that easy. So what I did is I went and got the ugliest wig for a white woman I could get. And I went into work the next day and I sat it on top of those Zulu knots, so you could still see them. And the wig was just sitting on them. And I went and clocked in and went to work. And the looks that I got, I carried myself like I did the day before when I was proud of my hairdo and I was feeling very, very good about it. Right? So immediately, now she wasn't out in the front when I came in. Now I'm dealing with the public. I'm dealing with the public. I see her running. She done fell out. One of her heels done fell off her foot. She got one shoe on and one shoe off trying to get into that lobby to grab me. And she said, now, okay, I'm just gonna say this. She was a Caucasian woman, but she had biracial children. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. If you know, you know. So she was like, Kim, you can't do that. And I said, why I can't? I said, y'all told me that my style was inappropriate. So, I wanted to make sure I came in here looking like the rest of these women up in here. She said, but the wig is not all the way on. And I say, but y'all didn't specify that. That's not in writing. So if you send me home, I'm suing you. And they had to let me work the whole day like that. I was in a union job. So it was going to be a problem if they terminated me, right? Now, I did, I eventually quit, but that they didn't make me quit, okay? But that always stuck in my throat. And I always had an issue with that because I'm telling you, I had a picture at some point, but it was a Polaroid. I had one of the customers because every customer I came in contact with and they asked me about it, I told them exactly what happened. And a couple of them actually called the supervisor over and said, what is wrong with her hairstyle? Wouldn't you rather her have her hairstyle than to have be walking around with this wig that don't even look right on her head? And it kicked up some dust. So I really kind of made some enemies in the management department. But by that time, they was mine too. So it was a mutual agreement as far as I was concerned. So that always stuck with me though. And that was a defining moment for me because at that point I said I was going to become an entrepreneur so nobody could tell me what I could and could not wear. I'm not even discussing what I wear with you because now if I'm working in your establishment, then I'm held accountable to your standards. But I was grown and I couldn't understand why I was going to be in a position to allow somebody else to tell me what I could and could not wear, how to look, how to present myself, what was acceptable, what was not acceptable. Y'all got me twisted. All of y'all got me twisted. So then I started doing the head wraps. I became as well, if that's I know a lot of terms are very debatable. I'm only using terminology I was raised with, but I started dealing and putting on Afrocentric garbs. I started buying them, wearing them, wrapping my head. I learned how to do head wraps for a while. I even had a head wrap business where I sold and I did tutorials on how to put them on different ways. That was before YouTube. Boy, if I'd have waited until YouTube, I'd be cleaning the house. But however, I digress. I'm just saying it really set it lit a fire in me that I was going to be that individual, right? So let's see. Know my rights. That's right. And they don't like that. People don't like that when they want you to do what they want you to do. And company policy goes right out the window, right? That's what I'm, come on, double speaks. That's what's up. Exactly. It is a control mechanism. And it's gotten so much worse over the years in a lot of different classifications, right? Depending, like, especially like in corporate, they have such stringent expectations down to you not being able to take certain days off. I remember I worked a job prior to this, that one incident I just told you about. And every time I called in, I had a baby at the time. And every time I called in, they wanted to know, uh, no, it was after. It was after. I think I worked one more job before I got my own business. And they wanted to know why. When I called in, I said, I won't be in today. I'm calling in. And they said, well, what's wrong? I won't be in today. I'm calling in. Well, you need to tell us what's wrong. I don't need to tell you anything. We have HIPAA laws. Well, back then we had HIPAA laws. They were not to the degree that they are now, but we still have protections to where you couldn't ask people their personal or their health history or anything health related, right? So yes, you know what? Kitchen Clothes podcast. At the time, I actually consulted with a couple of attorneys. However, the when you get into the political aspect of it, it was in the casino industry in Vegas, and they got the town. They had the town on lock. None of the attorneys would touch it. They wouldn't. They didn't care how much money you offered them. They would not touch it. The casinos generate a lot of money there, and back then the starts with an M and it's a three-letter word. Definitely had their hands. I don't know about now, but they ran the show. So yeah, when it came to the judicial system, it that was kind of like because of the location and the job I was in, nobody would touch it, even though I knew I had a good case, right? So um, they my supervisor, when I called in, we ended up getting off the phone. I go on to work you know, once I wasn't calling in anymore, and I decided to go back to work. And I got called into the office, and I had a whole booklet of their company policy, and then I had a whole nother printout of what my rights were medically. And I'm telling you, when you know your rights, you establish a lot of enemies because people can't manipulate you and they can't use you to their benefit, right? And it's sad, but I had to go to those extremes because of the workplace. And I'm just not, first of all, I'm trading my time for money, but that doesn't give you the right to want to get all up into my business, my personal business. You want to know how many family members I have, if I'm married, what my health is like. Am I going to be a risk for not coming to work, even though my portfolio and my resume speaks for itself? So, it was events like that that just really, that's why I can really understand where KB is coming from when he talks about he'll never work for somebody else again. Because um, I won't say what I won't do, but I don't plan on it. There's nothing like being your own boss. Absolutely. That's it. The kitchen closed. And there's nothing wrong, work trading your time for money with other companies. It's just that everybody's different. You have some people that they would rather struggle and do it on their own and go through the growing pains of having your own business or being an entrepreneur or being a sole proprietor, whatever the case is. So no knocking shade to anything or anyone else on the decisions that you make. It's just, yes, it is what it is. And everybody's different. So Miss Ann, very, very, very true. And I realized that because there was a lot of different times where I knew my rights had been violated. And that's kind of how the judicial system is set up. They know. And then depending on the companies, They have their own legal teams, have an allotted amount of money, which is usually a lot bigger than what you've got going on, set aside to drag everything out in court. So you'll either exhaust all your resources or you'll give up. And, or they go hand in hand. So, yeah, no, it's not an easy pursuit. But um, I do, when we talk about these women and the coaches and their attire, it is just amazing to me how judgmental and how quick people will come off of their tongues and feel like they have a right to tell another grown adult how to dress, what's acceptable, what's not. How am I offending you? That would be my first question. How, okay, so I'm going to get a little politically incorrect here and say what I eat don't make you shit. So how does that affect you? And that I would leave it right there, and that I'll move on about my day, right? So, it is what it is when it comes to that. I don't think that it's warranted, but I love the confidence in the women that instead of letting it buckle them, they either stood their ground or they moved on. But they didn't compromise who they were to please somebody else. And that's not what I'm doing. That, and I applaud them for not doing it as well, right? So, with that being said, I want to get in on Miss Kim Mulkey. And hold on one second. I'm looking for. She is the coach. Is it for Baylor University, or is that the? Yeah, because she's 12 big titles and NCAA championships. I'm bringing out her accolades. I'm bringing out her record. Um, because to me, that's what matters at the end of the day. But since y'all want to pick on, in my opinion, you want to bring out, make an issue and take issue with attire that these coaches are wearing that does not impede their duties to do their job. And if they're a distraction, that's not their problem, in my opinion, right? I think that a couple of outfits that I have seen Miss Kim Mulkey on has been very distracting. There is one where she has a sweater on. In that sweater, I'm going to show you what it says. Now, they tried to justify this by saying that it was St. Patrick's Day or something to that effect. Distraction is a distraction. So I don't know if y'all can see this, but it says, "Kiss me, I'm a queen," right? So she's in front of a ref with a "Kiss me" sweater on. Now, personally, that wouldn't bother me, but I imagine a sister with that on, standing in front of a referee on the sidelines with a "Kiss me" sweater on, and how well that would or would not be received, right? Hey, Whoopi, there's my girl. There's my girl. Welcome in. Thank you for coming, Miss Whoopi. Peace and blessings. You laughing, but I mean, okay, so tit for tat here, which I don't even think this is really a comparison. This didn't make the news. This didn't go viral. I'm trying to understand where we at with all of this. And I wanted to bring her up. I saved a picture from Miss Serena because now you talking about somebody that has been abused. has been outright discriminated against almost her entire career because of her body shape and her shamelessness, and her she doesn't lack any confidence, which she shouldn't have. She put in a lot of work in order to present herself the way that she did. She made a lot of sacrifices, and she went into a whole lot of arenas that took issue with everything about her. And how many times was her tennis career overshadowed by her origin, by what she had on, by her thickness? She's the best in the game, the best to ever do it in her field, indisputably, undeniably. But there are times that we'll never know of, that will probably never make the front page news or the back page, of how cruel people have been to her because of how she was born and the path that was chosen for her. I just wanted to give that little side note and that pivot because I thought that was so relevant to the conversation. This is crazy how much you have to endure just to live amongst people that don't look like you. I think it's sad. So here are some more outfits that she has worn. Miss Sydney Carter has worn the games. And I think all of them are very flattering. There's how many women looked at elegant and that beautiful just by standing or walking. It's a lot of haters in this world, and I'm gonna say it. Miss Ann, so you talking about Sydney Carter or you talking about Serena? Oh, I think you're talking about Serena Williams. Yes, they did. They did. They can find things to say about anybody, you know. Don't make it true just because you say it. And that's where I'm gonna leave that. So this is one of my favorite pictures of her. Her confidence, her ilk, her posture. It's not necessarily, in my opinion, the outfit, it's the way she carries herself. When a lot of times when you walk upright and erect, pause. People take notice and they get offended. And so we're not exempt. When you are raised, it takes a lot for parents to instill in this world that we live in my opinion, children to be confident and to be sure of who they are and to carry that through life no matter what bumps and bruises you endure along the way. But her stance and the way that she is carrying herself to me speaks volumes. And I think that's the most intimidating aspect. And it's just convenient to criticize her about her wear. She did let me see if I can find this interview. She did this quick snippet. Yes, Miss Collins, that's right. Absolutely. Some people are definitely intimidated when you have, a lot of people are, because a lot of people don't know how to take that. And they're real quick to say how you lack humility because your confidence, that's apples and oranges, in my opinion. You can be confident and be extremely humble. I, I think KB is that way. And he comes off more humble, were actually equally as humble as he is confident. But those are two separate things. And we have to really keep that acknowledged as much. And Whoopi Rock says, so what? They jealous of her strength. Absolutely. They sure are. That's the whole message, is that it's not usually what people are wearing, it's usually how they're carrying themselves, right? So give me just a moment and get ready to try to find this. Try to save it so I can access it. Oh, we gonna see how well that worked. It was a. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. So, uh-oh. All right. Yeah, I don't know why it's not picking up that one. Okay, bear with me here. Oh, okay. So I'll get, you know me, I'll get off track. Let me go to Miss Kim Mulkey. There's a couple more pictures with outfits that she had on that definitely um, had me wondering what was going on. All right, so let's do this. I think I'm gonna have to represent it. Now, I want y'all to put in the chat what this reminds you of, because I still can't figure it out. I'm puzzled as to what she was aiming for here. The Kitchen Clothes podcast says we are the most hated people in this planet, allegedly. I know you're being grammatically correct, but I would go so far as to say not allegedly. I think there's enough data and information out there to prove exactly what you're saying. Um, Oliver Green apartment. I know you lying. You said you got a type, huh? Oh, well, just tell us how you really feel, okay? So she light skinned. So Oliver Green, tell me what you think when it comes to her. She light skinned. She real light skinned, but she light skinned. Would you take her out to dinner with that outfit on, Miss Collins? I'm not picking on you. Look, we laughing together because you got laugh emojis at the end of your statement. So look, ain't nobody picking on you. You can't be the victim and participate at the same time. Thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing the comedy, because I'm in my feelings about this. I'm trying to, bring a balance, but this is like just in your face obvious, and it's kind of pissing me off, right? So Miss Collins, she said Dolly Parton. The only thing you missing is the boobs. Even though she had a breast reduction, she still got boobs. I don't know what's going on here. I really don't. Now, one thing I will give her is that she's 60 and she's still able to maneuver and do what she does. So I'm not taking anything away from her. And she's confident. The confidence doesn't discriminate. So I appreciate that part of her as well. Now, I will say that there's nothing wrong with getting a stylist or knowing one that you can bounce some ideas off of. I don't think she consulted anybody when she put this on. Now, in my personal opinion, I think this is super flamboyant for the sideline as a coach coaching a college basketball team. But that's my opinion. I'm not going to call the organization and complain because I don't like the jacket, or I don't like the way her pants fit, or I don't like the way, she's flapping her arms like she's getting ready to take flight. I'm not going to do any of that. Whoopi Rock, her name is Kim Mulvey. She is the basketball coach of what college did I say, y'all? Lord have mercy, don't get me the line. I forgot. But she's been there a long time. Hold on, I can find out for you. Lady Bears at Baylor College. And she's a really good coach. She's been, how many times she guided the team to NCAA championships in 2005, 2012, and 2019. Now, when it comes to Sydney Carter, I don't have a lot of stats on her in this particular. You're just saying that she coaches after having a very successful playing career at Texas A&M University. She looks fabulous for 60. I'm not questioning that, Miss Genesis, but I am questioning her taste in clothes. But it does it again. I'm going to apply the same question to her that I applied to Sydney and Brianna. How does that affect their coaching abilities? How does that affect their coaching abilities? Does it diminish their ability to lead their team to championships or to winning games? I just don't, if it's that much of an issue, then make the parameters of the dress code across the board for everybody. Make them uniform. Be specific. And then that way the coaches can decide if that's an avenue or that's something they want to accept upon terms and conditions of accepting the job. At least you give them a choice at that point. But don't recruit them, hire them, bring them on, pumping their heads up because you know that they're going to improve the reputation or maintain the reputation of the school or the college. And then when they get there, now you got a few people complaining because the women are curvy, and now you want them to tone down how they dress and present themselves. I got an issue with that, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Right? Yes, Miss Ann, she is a good coach. I love her passion too, and I'm just using her as an example, nothing personal because I don't know her. But what I will say is that I'm just using the comparison that if they're taking issue with a couple of the coaches, then there's room to take issue with this coach as well. If all you're going to do is sidestep their accomplishments and then turn around and you want to criticize and critique their styles or their wardrobes at courtside. I just think it should be called down the middle. I don't care what the records are. If you hire them, either you be specific about the criteria and the boundaries of what they can wear, or you just deal with their accomplishments and the contribution and value that they're bringing to the school and the students. It should, at the end of the day, be about the students, shouldn't it? I think we spend a lot of time trying to critique and judge what somebody else, another adult, is doing and has going on. So that's just my opinion. Yes, no, I'm with you, Miss Genesis. Absolutely. No, we on the same page. I was just trying to make the point that I only used her because if you're gonna isolate and target, in my opinion, women for what they're wearing, I think that she should be thrown in the group as well. It's just my opinion. So right. So what did Mr. T Smith? Thank you for coming in. Hey y'all. Hey. Peace and blessings. Behind closed doors, we know what they doing. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Miss Ann says there's definitely a double standard here. Yep. And that's the only point I'm trying to convey. As LSU. Okay, got it. That's where she currently is. Thank you for that, Kitchen Close. Absolutely. I knew I was off the mark there, but you're absolutely right. Come on with it. Come on. That would shut all that conversation down, right? T. Smith, for them to be able to wear uniforms, just keeps it simple. Personally, I'm not an advocate for it, but if it's such an issue in the workplace and in their positions, that would be a quick and easy fix, right? Have seen some of the female coaches and male coaches. They wear their the school sweaters or the school shirts with the collars and jeans or slacks, like semi business casual wear, which I think is appropriate. And it also represents the team and the school all in the same swoop. So I want to do a sidebar here real quick too, because during all these pictures I was watching, I was like, all of them have heels on. They all have, all the women are wearing heels. And so I was reading, and it's like an unspoken, I won't say rule, but tradition is kind of, well, yeah, kind of an unspoken rule. So they've been doing it for years, and it's just kind of goes with the territory of coaching. And so a lot of the women do it. I wouldn't be a good coach and have to wear heels. It would be very awkward for me, especially at this point. But for her to be 60 and still rocking heels and being able to balance that flamingo she got on her back, I commend her and I salute her and I give her her props, right? So you got, what did Miss the kitchen clothes says, make them wear sweatsuits for their schools. Yeah, we're back. That to me is like back to the uniforms. Now you already know the sisters ain't wearing nothing baggy. Them sweatsuits, they're gonna be fitting like them those regular suits that they have on, right? So thank everybody for hitting the like button. Thank y'all for persevering with me in this live and being patient with the technology challenges that I'm still working out. I'm getting it. It's just kind of a little bit of a process for me. I might have to do some testing live streams in order to figure a couple things out. Bolo is usually there to kind of assist me, but I can't depend on Bolo for everything when it comes to technology. I got to try to figure it out for myself as well. But so yeah, I mean, I don't want to make it a long, drawn out discussion because I think it's pretty much black and white, and it's not very hard to kind of see what's going on. But I wanted to call it out. I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to bring it to the forefront because it's just not right. It's happening, and it does happen all too regularly. It's been happening for so long that there's a sense of entitlement and acceptance here. If you know, you know. And it's just, it was just the opportunity I wanted to take in order to share some of my findings on the subject. Well, thank you, Kelvin. I appreciate you. Salute to you, and you have a wonderful day as well. Thank you for coming through, and I see you soon. See you soon. You said, "Believe Genesis." No pun intended. That's right. Salute to you, T. Smith. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I don't. Does anybody want to come up? I can drop the link for a minute. I got a feeling I don't see anybody in here. Maybe, but Miss Genesis that might hit the link. So I'll I'll drop it for a minute. Somebody might surprise me. I would love to be able to hear another take on um, the subject. You know, another thing too, just really quickly that I thought of, and the first thing I thought of is because I have sons, right? You will, yay, Miss Genesis, hit the link, hit the link. I like saying that, hit the link. Okay, so I have sons, and the first thing that I would think of, because like there are times where I have one is going to be 16 this month, and we go into grocery stores, and there's women, they got their booties jiggling. They don't wear it. Like in my generation, we wore support undergarments, slips up under our dresses. Like if we had sundresses, we would put slips up underneath so you don't get to see straight through to our goods. Where you walk, support bras, where you walk around and your goods ain't jiggling and hopping all over the place, right?
Blurry.
Hi. Hey,
Hi. Can you
sis.
hear me?
How are, yes, can hear you
Oh,
good.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
on my laptop. I'm trying to do the StreamYard on my laptop so that the frame is, what is this? Horizontal? Or what is this, vertical?
Yes. No, this is landscape. I think, well, I say landscape. So it's
Right.
like
Yeah. So there isn't
lateral.
the black box in between.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I'm trying it on my laptop for the second time because I did it before on another stream. Because you know me, I'm always on the phone, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, okay, can you see me? I don't want to have a
Yeah.
double chin. So
Oh, yeah. Join the club.
yeah, yeah. Hey, good morning. Good morning, Miss
Good
Akimi. How are
morning.
you?
Good morning. Thank you
Kat,
for
hey,
coming
everybody.
up. I appreciate you. I can always rely on you to grace me with your presence
Oh, you're
and
such a
be able
sweetheart.
to add something to the topic. What you think, Miss Genesis?
Um, yeah, I think with the first story, sorry, I don't remember the lady's name. Because
The
I said in
very
the,
first one,
yeah, the very first one,
Brianna O'Connor.
Rihanna O'Connor. Yeah, as I said in the community tab, was there like a company policy? Did they have like a dress code in place? Did she violate the dress code? I mean, were there issues before leading up to her being terminated? I mean, I had so many questions because to terminate her because of her dress code, that I don't know, that just seems like it's coming out of nowhere, So
Hmm.
those are the questions that I had. And I also thought she coached high school basketball, right?
Yes,
Now, was it a female basketball team that she coached or a male
yes.
basketball coach? It was a
It was a
female?
female. Hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind I mean, who really knows? I mean, you never really know what the behind story is with any of these stories. And I mean, but I think it's a little ridiculous because I didn't think there was anything wrong with her outfits. The only thing that I thought maybe would have been an issue was when she had the skirt outfit with the jacket, because the skirt was a little short.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking if you're a coach, you're shouting and jumping around and bending over and all of that stuff. So the skirt thing, I thought, okay, well maybe it could have been a little longer. But again, I mean, I'm not really familiar with the whole story, so I don't know.
But okay, so let me ask you this: with the
Hmm.
skirt being rather short, too short for the occasion, in your opinion, and I tend to agree with that.
Hmm.
Um, do you think that that would, based off of the information that we do have,
Yep.
okay, so just for the sake of argument, she didn't get called in for progressive discipline. It wasn't mentioned to her before,
Hmm.
even if it was maybe once, or but none of that information is really made prevalent to us because I've been reading all over and I haven't been able to find a lot of specific behind the scene details. But
Right.
considering the information that we do have, do you think that she should have been terminated for that?
No, I don't. I think if they had an issue with her attire from the beginning, then they could have called her in and spoken to her about it. But as I said before, was there a policy? Was there a dress code? Because I mean, you know, in your presentation, you didn't mention if she had violated a dress code, and I don't think it was said in the article that she had violated a dress code. So I mean, clearly there's a bigger issue other than her, you know, her attire. So,
Mhm.
and again, I mean, are we really going to know exactly what that is? Probably never. And she, from my understanding, hasn't spoken about it, so we don't know from her end. You know.
Well, now the one thing that the piece of information we do have that she stated, I don't know who she said it to, but it was in quotations in an article I read. She
Mm.
stated that when they gave her the reason for termination, they said that this was not a fashion show.
Okay. Yeah. 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 I did. I did hear that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think something else was brewing, whether she was made aware of it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that it seldom is what they say it is, right?
Yeah.
um but with her, with the information that they gave her, the reason that they gave her for terminating her position or her employment with them, I just, we all we can go off of is what they've got, what they give us as far as the media. But I've got questions too. But like I said, we have to kind of make the analogy make sense off of the information that we have and kind of draw our own
Sure. Yeah.
opinions, you know.
Yeah. But kudos for her for, letting it roll off her back, so to speak, and going on to bigger and better things, because in
Yeah.
my philosophies, kill them with respect.
Yep.
Sorry, not kill them with respect. The
Kindness.
nerves are kicking in now because I don't even know what I'm saying.
You're
The
good.
best revenge is success. Yep, that's what I'm trying to say. Yep,
I
that's
like that though. I
yeah.
think you stumbled onto something. Kill 'em with respect. I think that's a dichotomy, but I think that's powerful
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to respect people that you feel disrespected by. And a lot of
Absolutely.
times you take the ammunition and you take the power away from them when you maintain that level of respect on your end, because you can't they have nothing to talk about, right?
Absolutely.
So
You
I
walk.
like that.
Yep, you maintain your dignity, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's hard because some
Yes.
individuals will try to take you to the gutter.
Yep.
But I think that if you can maintain your dignity and just walk in that essence of who you are, and realize that you're so much better than that. And I mean, living rent free in somebody's head is the best form of revenge anyway. Because nothing gives me more pleasure than knowing that somebody's up at night with me on their mind and they can't sleep. I love that.
And you're snoring and slobbing on the pillow.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
exactly. But I think that that's super powerful, and I think in Brianna's case, that's that at least that appears to be how she transitioned. She kept
Hmm.
her dignity intact. You don't hear a lot
Right.
about her or anything about her responding, going off on anybody,
Yeah.
reacting. She just moved
Hmm.
on because it seems like she knew her worth,
Right.
so
Yeah.
no, definitely. Definitely. Oh Lord, what's
Yeah.
going on in the chat? Anytime Whoopi is in the chat, you-
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Whenever I'm up here, I don't read the chat because the chat is just the chat, and
the chat is the chat. I
yeah,
like, well, until
the chat.
it starts moving fast, it's hard not to look at the chat. I guess I could turn it off, but I like to welcome people coming in. So
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm up here, I don't look at the chat. It's
yeah,
too much of a distraction for me. So
I
yeah.
think
But
that's a
shout
good.
out to the chat.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. That makes the stream most of the time. The
Mm-hmm.
engagement, because I'm gonna tell you right now, looking at a camera and feel like I'm not talking to anybody, it changes my dialect. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like talking to myself, you
But I
know.
have to say, I have to give you your props, your flowers now because you've taken the leap and you've jumped in. And I know that you're feeling a little, less than perfect, but I mean, that's perfectly okay and totally understandable. I'm going to quote Kevin Samuels when he says, build it as you fly it, and this YouTube content creator, situation is not an easy road,
No,
and
it's
you've taken the plunge and you're here and you're doing it and we're here to support you. And any little hiccup, totally understandable. Totally understandable. As I said before, even some of the greats who've been doing it for, eons have hiccups. So breathe, give yourself a little grace, and understand that it's a journey. And we are
Yeah.
definitely here to support you. So I'm giving you your now.
Thank you, Genesis. Those words of comfort definitely make an impact and they help. I That's one thing I am focusing on. I don't know, by this part of my journey in my life, I have fallen down and gotten up enough times to where now I can do it and it not really affect me, at least not long term.
Mm-hmm.
I acknowledge it, and realizing that I'm imperfect definitely, gives me that feeling of grace. And
Absolutely.
so, yes, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's not easy, but I will say this, if it's lined up by purpose, then it's not a matter of whether it's easy or not. And
Mm-hmm.
all those other small idiosyncrasies really don't matter to me. It's about, did you, at the end of the day, did you stay long enough to get the message I was trying to convey?
Mm-hmm.
If you did, then mission accomplished. I love that replay button. People have lives outside of this, and I don't expect especially not now. I don't have any expectations when it comes to my viewership. As long as you can hit that replay button, you can view it at any time. So I'm grateful and I appreciate your support. You're always the first one in the room and in the chat, and I that means a lot. That's comforting for me. So I'm not putting any pressure on you. I'm just saying thank you, and I'm giving you your flowers too. Thank you,
Sure,
Genesis.
for
A
sure.
thankless job, but I'm thanking you anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're all here to support. And I was so pleased when Kwame shouted you out last night at the end of his stream. That was such a sweet move. Yeah, I really, really, and he
Yes,
shouted out a number of other people too. But we're here on your platform now, so I just wanted to say that was really, really sweet. Yeah,
if it wasn't for Kwame, I wouldn't be here. I can tell you
he's
that right now.
he's birthed
So
many a YouTube channels, that's for sure.
yes, he's created a whole sector for people to be able to obtain economic growth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He set the stage. You just have to walk in it. And that's all he's
Mm-hmm.
been saying.
Yeah.
I'll give you a rope, but you're going to have to pull on it. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to have to do the work. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not cut out for everybody, and that's okay.
Nope. I know for sure. I'm a perfect cheerleader. I'm a perfect cheerleader.
And say, you know what your purpose is, right, Miss Genesis?
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
you know what? I was finding the chat for 3 years, and so this is definitely a leap for me, but it's one that I felt needed. It was just, you know what? I had a friend tell me one time. I said, "How do you know How did you know what your purpose was?" She said, "Because I couldn't get it out of my head. I couldn't
Mm.
stop thinking about it." When I would be doing mundane tasks around the house, I'd be driving. Sometimes during conversation, it would just pop up in my head.
Mm.
And anything that you can't get rid of and you can't shake, you're supposed to be doing it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's actually a great explanation for it because I mean, you hear that a lot. Walk in your purpose. What is your purpose? If you know what you want to do, you'll never work a day in your life. It's all of that stuff, and it's hard to figure that out. Because not everybody is a content creator. Not everybody is a journalist or whatever. And just
Right.
being a regular everyday person and taking care of your family and being a good mom, a good husband. Maybe that's your purpose.
Hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be something grand to affect the entire world. Maybe it's just something as simple as just being a decent human being. you know
Say that again, Miss Genesis.
Being a
Say
decent
that
human being.
again. No, for real. That
Yeah.
I think it was my last stream. I said, when I always reiterate, it seems like every live I'm reiterating what Bolo Mom said about impacting that one person out of all of the people that if it's just one person, it's going to multiply because of who they interact with and how far the impact goes with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my train of thought on that was is when you're on purpose, it comes it's like you almost have tunnel vision, right? But if it's something as small as having a kind word for somebody in the morning or in the afternoon, you don't know what kind of morning that person may have had. That a kind word from you could change the entire trajectory of their day. As the same effect can happen if you have a rude word or an inconsiderate, word for them as well. You can change a good day from to a bad day. I don't want to be remembered as somebody that changed you into a sour person
Mm-hmm.
or soured your spirit or your mood. I want to be somebody who say, you know what? There are still some kind people in this world. There are still some people that care about other people without having to expect anything from them or know them, right? And so that's powerful what you said because a lot of times, especially living in the times that we live in, a lot of people think that if they're not doing something on a grand scale, that they're not on purpose. And that's not true. It takes everybody has their own assignments. And we can't, that's why jealousy and comparisons are detrimental. Because as soon as you compare or envy somebody else's position or think that you're supposed to be where they are, you've missed the whole boat. And now you're depressed because you can't achieve what's made for somebody else. So your outcome is even if you went and pursued that, the outcome is not going to be the same because it wasn't for you. So
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to go on a long tirade, but I wanted
Mhm.
to expound on that statement you just made because there's power in that.
Mm. But there's also, a lot of individuals walking around with displaced anger, and I think as we move forward, especially in 2024, whatever issue that you might have that you're dealing with, whether you want to go to therapy, whether you want to, do some soul searching, whether you want to read the Bible, get some self-help books or whatever, Google something, because I mean, you don't necessarily, and even if you're not in a financial situation where you can afford, therapy, there's so many things that you can utilize on the net. There's
Yes.
so many things that you can utilize on the net. You can look up anything. There is a website for it. There's a YouTube channel for it. There is, a
Mhm.
blog. There's something. And not necessarily everybody is comfortable going to therapy. But again, whatever issue that you might be dealing with, seek out some form of help because it is definitely out there. And a lot of these places that I'm mentioning, especially on the web, you can be an anonymous person,
Yes.
and just, seek out the help because at the end of the day, if you're so consumed with all of this, negativity and anger within yourself, that's going to spew into other areas. And
Hmm.
it's too short for that. It's just way too short for that. So,
Absolutely. And to just piggyback off of that point as well, um, I lost my train of thought that quick. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Multitasking over here, but
Mhm.
no, I agree with everything that you just stated. As far as the point goes, when it say the last thing that you just said.
You can remain anonymous for getting help. Displaced
Oh,
anger.
help. The displaced anger. Yes, thank you. And that could be anybody. That can be somebody that is easy to talk to. That could be somebody in the parish, in a church. It could be a 12-step program. It doesn't have to be in a psychologist or a psychiatrist official office where you're laying on the bench spread out talking to a stranger and telling them all of your problems.
Mhm.
I've been blessed enough in my tribe to have somebody that has therapy experience and that can be objective and call it down the middle, whether we're friends or not. And
Mhm.
so you can find that comfort and that solace in a lot of different places,
Yeah.
right?
There's a great book that I read last year, and it's called "The Body Keeps the Score." it's either the body keeps the score or the soul keeps the score. I can't remember, and forgive me, I don't remember the author, but it's either the body keeps the score or the soul keeps the score. It's one of those titles, and that's an amazing book. And it talks about dealing with your issues and how to sort them out, recognize them, and ways of helping you to overcome them. That's a great book. The body keeps the score. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a great book.
I'm gonna, can you, when you go back down, would you put that in the chat,
Absolutely. Yeah,
please? I
absolutely. Yeah, I
appreciate
know
that.
it's somewhere on the shelf and one on it's on the bookshelf somewhere, but I don't want to leave. I can definitely put it in the chat for sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, because I'm building my library and just got the Emotional Intelligence 2.0,
Mm,
and that is a read. I don't know if you've got that, but that's
mm,
something is super informative and enlightening. And I needed, or I was ready for a fresh source of information on or approaches on how to deal with people that have it and that don't have it, or that's trying to build it. And like you said, providing people with grace and not taking things personal and not internalizing them and looking at everything that somebody says as an attack. It's easy to do that, but most of the time, people, like you said, have the displaced anger, have displaced anxiety, frustration.
yep.
Most of the time, it's not about you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I do a lot of reading. I've only been on YouTube for the last 3 years because of the C-19. I never had the internet, and
Mhm.
back then you could only do three things: eat, exercise, or be on the YouTube. You couldn't go anywhere. So
Mhm.
yeah, this YouTube thing for me is kind of new as well. But yeah, I'm a book reader, so yeah,
Yes, well, the
yeah.
great minds think alike. So that is awesome. Well, I appreciate you. Do you have anything else that you would like to add?
No, you hit it on the head because I was just about to say I'm gonna go.
Okay. I'm getting to the point where I can read you a
Yeah,
little bit. So
yeah,
no,
yeah.
but
Wait,
I get it. I'm with you. I appreciate you coming up, being so quick to hit the link, come up and collab with me. You made some great points, and some great talking points, and just thank you for the encouragement and the motivation to keep going. I appreciate you, and likewise. And it truly takes a village, and without your support, it wouldn't be this easy for me. So not saying it's easy, but it's easier than I know it would be without you.
yeah. It's definitely a journey for sure. But
Yes,
thank you for having me up. I really appreciate it. I'm definitely going to put that name in the chat when I get down. So, and I
please.
think I know how to get out of here. So let me see if I can get
Okay.
out of here on my own. Thank
Yes.
you,
All right,
everybody.
Miss Genesis. Thank
See
you.
ya. Yep.
Thank you. Perfect. All right. So I want to go back a little bit. I like to read the comments. First of all, I want to know. Okay, so I know Double Speaks pronouncing. He gives you an abbreviated name. Can you type in the chat what you would like to be called? Because I do not want to get this wrong. Your name is important, and I don't want to mispronounce it. I think Speaks calls you Jaga or Bolo. Somebody, I think one of those call you Jaga. So is it Kakamata Jaga? If you can type in the chat, would you? If you want to be called that, then don't type nothing. I have to learn your name, but if you have a nickname, I gotta go down some. Okay. Yeah, just type it. So thank you so much for this comment. I appreciate it. Yeah, just thank you. I don't, I think sometimes my voice is so soft that I feel like I have the potential to bore people, and I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I can only be me, and this is how I speak. This is how I talk. So it's I appreciate you vocalizing that, because it reassures me that somebody's listening, right? No matter how it comes across. So thank you. And Miss Whoopi Rock, I did put I added my PayPal at the bottom. I've been trying to get that name changed because I used to have a notary business, but it's still that for the time being. So yeah, any blessings are truly appreciated. I don't have my notifications on because I don't like to get interrupted um, during the stream. But any cash apps or any financial blessings through PayPal, I appreciate it from the heart. It's not required. It is just there for those that are looking before you have to ask. So thank you kindly in advance. And Mr. Kelvin, I thought you was boning out of here. So you say you got great energy. I could tell you are a great woman. Well, so thank you. I appreciate that. I try to be. I definitely wake up every day trying to be the best version of me that I can be so God can be proud of me. And if He's proud of me, then I will make other people proud as well. Because we are here we are not placed here to be alone. We are placed here to be amongst one another. And so thank you for that. It's been a journey though. I can't always say that I felt like I was great, but today I love who I am. And I'm glad that I've gone through everything that I've gone through so I can become the woman that I have become. And I wouldn't trade her for the world. And I think that's what our journeys all are supposed to be like is if you're blessed enough to make it to an older age or a seasoned age where you can be labeled as accumulating wisdom to become wise, your experiences should be displayed through your personality, your character, your dignity, and your behavior. And so, thank you for that, Kelvin. Salute, Candyman. Thank you for stopping through. You got to catch the replay because I've been talking about these coaches and the hypocrisy and the double standard um, with the expectations because they curvy, they walk with confidence. It's just it should calling it down the middle. I hear you say that in my head sometimes, TJ. You gonna call it down the middle, and that's true. And it impacted me enough to put that on my thumbnail because that's the first thing I thought is why are you isolating and you know picking apart these women and what they wear. It seems to be a hell of a lot more important than their accomplishments and their contributions to the schools and the teams and these girls that so sorely need somebody to look up to because half of them, especially the college ones, aren't even at home. They're away from home and they need good examples. And so you're worrying about what somebody has on that is not revealing any body parts, but you're taking issue with because of how they were born. That's some bull for me. I can't get past that. But thank you for coming on through, Candyman. Salute. What is Miss Collins laughing at? Okay, so okay, so that was Bolo. So Miss, okay, D called you Cam. Okay, so everybody just picking a piece of your name and you answering to it. I love it. Okay, so I think Jaga is good because it's easier to for me to look at the end of a word than it is in the middle of a word. If that's okay with you. So Jaga, Miss Jaga, is it? I hope it's Miss. My bad. I think it's Miss. Okay, so Miss Genesis. All right, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, MD. Thank you, Genesis. I'm screenshotting this. So I'm gonna go ahead and order it through Amazon. Thank you for coming up, Miss Genesis. I appreciate you. I always love and invite interaction. TJ, you want to come up for a minute? I know you usually with the shits, but you can come up and say hi if you. Let me drop the link. Hold on, just in case. No pressure. Just thought I'd invite you while you're here. passing through, or anybody else for that matter. And won't be too much longer because I know y'all, these YouTube, I don't know who's live and I haven't looked, but I know somebody is either live or going live very soon. Going live very soon. So I drop the link, drop it one more time. And yeah, Miss Genesis One says that like button is looking really good. Thank you. Oh, Miss Whoopi, I appreciate you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. You are such a pleasure to listen to. I'm so glad that you started hitting links because listening to you is hilarious, and you have such a wonderful tone and accent that I know a lot. I'm speaking for a lot of us that we could listen to you go on and on. So thank you so much. All right, well, I'm not going to hold y'all. I have definitely taken up some time today. I appreciate I know I say that a lot. I need to find me another catchphrase, but it just, it comes natural because it's authentic. But I do. I'm humble. I am grateful, and I appreciate the support. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate everybody, being transparent, giving their feeling comfortable enough to give their honest opinions and feedback on whatever the topic is. And thank you. I hope that I'm providing good content. I'm open for suggestions and constructive critique. I don't profess to have it all together, and I take it in the spirit it's given. And most of the time it's in love. So I will receive it that way. I appreciate everybody. So if you haven't hit that like button, you can hit it on the way out. Once again, I want to give some salutes. I want to say salute Genesis One for your continuous support, assistance, being informative, um, all of that. You being proactive, kind of just gently helping guide me through whatever it is that you see that I need to, need some help on. I want to salute the chat, and everybody in the chat for hanging out with me, for engaging, for subscribing, for just finding some value in what I have to say. For that, I'm truly appreciative, and it's a reminder that I am doing the right thing and I'm doing what I should be doing at this point in my life and at this time. So for all of that, I'm super grateful. I want to say salute to KB, Bolo, salute to Double Speaks, salute to O Speaks. I want to say salute to Earth Day, salute to all of their, or most of their, I'm going to go through the description, but I think all of the ones that I have mentioned, their links are in the description. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And support as well. But I think mostly everybody here, I see in everybody's chat. But just for anybody that hits the replay, and this is not live, there are some highly recommended channels in this sector in the description box. And so I want to say, let me see, what am I missing here? Miss Collins, sis, love you. Thank you so much. I'll see you because I think this is only live. I might go live later if I don't think I'm talking about Cat Williams. So if ain't nobody else talking about nothing else, unless I come across another topic that I may find some value in, that I think you guys may find value in, ladies and gentlemen, then I will come back. But if not, then you'll see me in chats, in various chats, depending on who's going live. So with that being said, if you catch the replay, just comment comment in the box if you haven't been able to engage on the live stream. And so if there's nothing else to be said today, I want to say thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful Friday. Be safe. Stay warm. I know where I'm at. We're expecting snow tomorrow. Be careful out on these streets. Keep your head on a swivel. Love on your family. Kiss somebody. Text somebody that hasn't heard from you in a while and say that you were thinking of them. And you say a prayer for them and may God continue to bless them. And with that, I'm out. Peace and blessing.